Have you ever wondered why a narcissist seems to enjoy hurting you? Now, I think there's different levels of this, and I think it goes to different extremes. When you start getting to a place where they're really enjoying it, where they're getting pleasure off of your pain, we're probably moving more into the sociopath and psychopath area. So please be careful if you're seeing this in your life, no matter what level it is. Like, you don't need to have anyone that's in your life hurting you. But it seems like a lot of times narcissists will get to the place where they enjoy emotionally manipulating, emotionally hurting you. And we're going to talk about some of that today. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness of narcissistic abuse. I break people free from mental and emotional trauma bonds, being stuck in narcissistic relationships and not sure how to break free. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to rawmotivations.com. Would love to be able to help you move forward in that area. When we talk about understanding like how narcissists deliberately go after you, deliberately hurt you, there's a couple different things I want to be able to go over. But first, I want to just be able to comment one single thing. Sometimes with narcissism, not all the time, sometimes with narcissism, it doesn't have anything to do with hurting you. Bear with me for a second. Sometimes it's all about, in their mind, preserving them. So as a result, if hurting you is the end result, it feels better to hurt you than it does to hurt themselves. So it can be a defense mechanism of, let me do something that ends up hurting someone else, but it doesn't hurt me. So that's all that matters. That's all I care about. That a lot of times is underlying principle of different things that are going on when we talk about narcissism, narcissistic abuse. But when we move into this place of like deliberately, intentionally trying to hurt, one of the first aspects is when a narcissist is seeking revenge and control over you. So this could be like emotional or psychological manipulation as a means to revenge and control you. This could be like, I'm threatening to release something. I'm threatening you to like hold something over you, like blackmail in one sense. And so sometimes you see this revenge piece of like, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show this on the internet. I'm going to tell people that you did this. I'm going to smear your name. And all this pieces start to come out where the narcissist trying to do anything and everything to impact your image. You see, when you think about it, like a narcissist oftentimes wants to impact your image because they think that's the biggest thing that's going to hurt you. Because for a narcissist, it's the biggest thing that hurts them. So like a narcissist is trying to be able to run away from like image of like, they want to maintain what it looks like, but they want also like run away from who they actually are. So it's like this back and forth. But a lot of times they'll use this to try to deliberately like hurt you. Like this might be intentionally like inflicting pain on you, whether that's in the relationship or out of the relationship, to get the sense of power, the sense of control of like, I did this to you. You're now subservient to me. You're now controlled under my power. Okay, like that's like the idea. Like you might have got to a place where you said something and then they took it as like, oh, you just attacked me. Let me put you down. Let me like beat you up mentally and emotionally. There's a lot of different aspects. Okay. So sometimes narcissists will get to the place where he feels like you've threatened his ego. Okay. Ego is huge with a narcissist. Like typically ego is like the biggest thing walking into the room. And typically if you get to a place where you have injured that, or you have put that down, or you have like said something that it like offends their ego, then expect revenge. Expect something to come back where they're going to retaliate, push back on you, because they don't like that you just expose something in their life. So think of it, for instance, like imagine your narcissistic partner, he discovers you've been seeking support from friends and family to escape their abuse. You've been starting to confide in other people. You've been starting to share your story. You've been starting to tell other people, hey, this is what's going on. And in retaliation, he starts to launch a smear campaign with his friends and his family, and starts to even contact your friends and your family to try to tarnish your reputation. Again, going after your image. Okay, this is the whole aspect of like, okay, let me do this to put you in the pain because you attacked me. You rejected me. You've been trying to get free. I'm going to do everything I can to control you, but ultimately get revenge over you. Now, do all narcissists seek revenge? No, not all narcissists seek revenge, but majority of them seek their image. Their image has to look good. So even a smear campaign might not even started from revenge, but is just there to maintain and keep the image that the narcissist is trying to have in their life. Okay, so number two, moving into how a narcissist deliberately hurts you. Oftentimes it's maintaining their superiority. Okay, this insatiable need of like, I have to feel superior, I have to be admired, I have to be adored, I have to have people underneath me, serving me, slaving under me, all these things. Okay, when there's this sense that the control is like waning or like disappearing, narcissist is like, I need to get this back. However, so like it might be something where he resorts to starting to hurt you to reestablish this. Okay, so you start pulling away, you start realizing that you can actually be free from this, and he comes back full force, beating you down even more, hurting you even more, putting you down, belittling you, using other people to be able to get to you, like multiple things just to get back to this sense of superiority. Like, I am dominant over you. You see, a narcissist is trying to establish a lot of times extreme dominance over you to be able to prop up a fragile ego. Like, my ego isn't strong enough, so I need to have it over someone else so I feel better about myself. Can't let that person rise and grow and develop, because then I won't feel good about myself, because I have to look at myself and realize I'm not superior because this person actually passing me up. So I have to keep them down. Now, you're going to see this a lot of times in the husband-wife dynamic if the wife makes more money and the man's the narcissist. And this just happens so many times. Like, I see a woman that she runs an effective business. She's like moving forward like really effectively in her company, and he's constantly belittling, he's constantly putting her down because he doesn't feel superior anymore. Whether it's his lack of honesty, whether it's lack of integrity, whether it's his lack of him actually producing. And it's his ego of like, I'm feeling attacked because my ego doesn't feel big enough because she's bigger than me. And so he's constantly trying to do stuff to put you down and to make sure that you are small. So like, you might see this even in the work environment, like a narcissistic boss that like notices you keep getting more independent at work, you keep growing, you keep getting better. And so by putting down your accomplishments, by undermining your confidence, it keeps you under control. Okay, a narcissist doesn't want you to be confident, doesn't want you to grow, doesn't want you to develop, doesn't want you to invest any time and energy into you. So part of this is trying to understand you have to do that in order to actually be free, in order to actually move forward. So then we move into how they deliberately hurt you with creating emotional chaos. I've used illustration before of being put into a tornado, where the narcissist is the center of the tornado, where it feels great for the narcissist because everything's swirling around them, everything's focused on them, everything's getting destroyed around them. But for them, it's like, it doesn't feel that bad because I'm causing the chaos. A lot of times a narcissist will thrive on chaos and causing this emotional turmoil. Like, deliberately causing you pain is a way for a narcissist to maintain this chaotic environment where they can manipulate, exploit your emotions, your feelings, and direct you in the way that you need to go. The narcissist, once again, to control you. So if he can do that by causing enough chaos in your life, you will stay. You will stay confused. You will stay in the fog. You won't actually leave. Sometimes people understand this when we break it down, of understanding that the narcissist is complaining about the relationship, saying it's the worst relationship ever. He hates it. He just wants to get out of it, but he doesn't leave. Why? Because he's actually controlling it. He's actually manipulating the chaos. He's actually doing the things that he wants to do to be able to get you to stay in the relationship. And so you need to understand, a lot of times narcissists are going to deliberately cause pain in a way to stay in this chaotic environment, to maintain control over you. Think of it this way. You've had this argument, and this person like is intentionally, he's ignoring your messages. He's leaving you in an emotional turmoil. Like, are we okay? Are we not okay? Like, the relationship's in limbo. You're just not sure. And you're uncertain of like the intentions of like the future together, what it actually looks like. It's all this aspect of let me leave you in chaos to be able to control. Chaos controls other people. So narcissists like, let me bring chaos, it'll control you, then I get what I want. I keep the image, I maintain control, I maintain the narrative, whatever it might be. You see, a narcissist oftentimes is looking to figure out, how do I make sure you stay under lock and key? How do I make sure that I'm still in control over you, or at least control over the narrative? So he'll do anything he can to maintain that. And you're going to see this over and over and over of him deliberately trying to do these things to keep that control. Now, remember, you might be at a place where you're like, I think I just need to tell him that he's a narcissist, or I think I need to expose him. Please be really careful. Sometimes in doing this, it will trigger the narcissist to think and to feel emotionally that you're attacking him. And as a result, he will lash back out on you. He will attack you even more. He will come after you more and more and more because he's like, you're attacking me. I'm going to do this to you. And he'll just go after you. So please be careful. Sometimes this will ramp up and this will switch over into violence and like physical abuse. And we want you to be really safe. So be careful, because the narcissist oftentimes will ramp this up. Same thing will happen when you break away, when you leave the relationship, he leaves, you leave, whatever it might be, and then you come back. A lot of times the level of abuse that it rose to. So let's say he got to the place where he was yelling at you and you broke up. Okay, yelling at you is now the new baseline. Now it's going to move to like him screaming at you. Now you break up, you come back together. That's the new baseline. Now it's going to move to him throwing things. Now you break up, now you come back together. That's the new baseline. It's only going to continue. We see typically when you cycle through the same person over and over, back and forth, it only ramps up, it only gets worse. So in understanding these things, please be careful and please set healthy boundaries so that you stay away from a toxic narcissistic person. If you need help in staying away and understanding how you can be free from this cycle that keeps you going back and forth over and over and over again, please go to rawmotivations.com. We can show you how we break people free every single day inside of our Clarity Challenge. It's a 45-day challenge to help you actually maximize who you are, break free from the emotional, the mental, the obsession, the piece that feels like an addiction to a toxic person when you know you shouldn't be with them, but you keep wanting to go back. So go to rawmotivations.com today.